Hello, dear students. Today we are with the Solitary Reaper, the poem written by William Wordsworth. We have already done the two stanzas of this poem in our previous lecture. The stanza number 1 and the stanzas number 2. Now we will discuss the stanza number 3 and the stanza number 4, which is the concluding stanza of this poem. As I told you, there are 4 stanzas in this poem in all, and we have seen that the poet William Wordsworth, who is the poet of nature, who is an ardent lover of nature, describes a highland lass, a girl, who is singing alone in the field, who is singing as well as reaping and binding the grain in the field. In fact, she is working in the field, but working with, she is also singing a melodious song. The poet is influenced by her song. Therefore, in the previous stanzas, he says that the passerby should either stop there and listen to her, and or he may go from there so that she may not be disturbed by his presence. Then we saw that the poet compared the song of the girl with the nightingale and the song of the cuckoo bird. And he gives us the conclusion that the song of the girl is better than the song of the nightingale and the cuckoo bird. It is more melodious, it is more sweet, it is more cool and calm, and more influencing than the nightingale and the cuckoo bird. This is what we have seen in our previous lecture. Now we have the stanza 3. I recite it, I speak it. Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plaintive numbers flow for old, unhappy, far off things and battle long ago. Or is it some more humble lay, familiar matters of today? Some natural sorrow, loss, or pain that has been and may be again. So, this is the stanza that we have to discuss. It's clear that this stanza is from William Wordsworth's poem, The Solitary Reaper. And as I told you, the discussion that we did in our last lecture, that is, the poet is describing a highland girl who is alone in the field singing as well as reaping and binding the grain. And she is singing spontaneously. Now, we also saw that the poet was mesmerized by the song and melody of her singing. He was influenced by the song, and therefore he stopped to listen the song of the girl. Now in the third stanza, the poet says that he has not been able to understand the song of the girl. Why? Because we know that the girl belongs to the highland, and the people of that particular region were not able to speak English properly, and they didn't know English very well. So in her dialect, in the dialect she is singing the song. The song is no doubt very sweet and melodious, but the poet is not able to understand the meaning of the song, the theme of the song, the subject of the song, because there is no one to interpret the song to the poet. So, in this third stanza, he makes some guess. He tries to guess the theme of the song. And then he says that perhaps she is singing the legendary notes of long past events. He says, will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plenitive numbers flow for old. That is, it may be about the sad, disappointing, about the unhappy notes which are flowing, which are coming out spontaneously from the girl's voice. And this may be about the old means ancient, unhappy, far off things, unpleasant, and things of the distant place or from the remote place. So, the poet is trying to guess the theme of the song of the girl, that it may be about the sadness, it may be about the unhappy, about the ancient, and about the remote places and battles long ago, as well as it may be about the battles which were fought in the ancient time. Or is it some more humble lay, familiar matters of today? Then the poet says that it may be about the humble people, humble people who are the resident of that particular region, that highland. And familiar matters of today, or the song may be about the familiar matters of daily routine, day to day life. So, the song may be about the humble people, or it may be about their familiar matters of day to day life. Some natural sorrow, loss, or pain that has been and may be again. Or the song may be about some natural sorrow, grief, anxiety, loss, it may be about loss or pain. That is, it may be about the natural calamities, natural mishappenings, natural havocs. So, there in natural havoc or incidents, we lose, we get the pain, and that has been and maybe again. Or she is singing about the natural calamities that took place already there, or they may come in the future also. That is, they might happen in the future also. So, the song of the girl may be about the humble people, about their daily life, or about the natural calamities, mishappenings, which brings the destruction to the life, which had already been happened there or may happen in the future. This is what the poet wants to convey in these lines. So, this stanza is absolutely about the theme, about the subject of the song that the poet is listening there. The poet is not able to understand the song, but he is trying to guess. He is trying to know that this or that may be the theme of her song. So, this is the third stanza that we have done, as I told you. Now we go with the fourth stanza of this poem, and this is the concluding stanza of Wordsworth's poem, The Solitary Reaper. The poet himself clears that he doesn't know the language of the girl in which she is singing, but the important thing here was that the poet was enraptured by the melody of the girl's song. The poet is captivated, is attracted by the melodious song of the girl. So let's go with the lines of this stanza. Whatever the theme, the maiden sang, as if her song could have no ending. I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending. I listened, motionless and still, and as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore, long after it was heard no more. So now the poet is hearing her song perfectly being motionless, without moving. He is totally enraptured by the melody of the girl's song. So he says that it's okay, whatever may be the theme of the girl's song. Doesn't bother. Whatever may be the theme. And he has already guessed the theme of the song. So now in the fourth stanza he says that it doesn't matter what is the theme of the song of the girl. But the point is that the poet is thrilled and captivated by the melody of her song, and which he hears with rapt attention, without making any movement, without making any disturbance, without disturbing the girl. He is listening the song very seriously. So as if her song could have no end. Whatever the theme the maiden sang, as if her song could have no end. So the girl is singing her song spontaneously. The poet says that it seems that the song does not have any end. There is no end of this song. She is singing and singing and singing. I saw her singing at her work. The poet says that I have seen her there singing while she was working, at her work. When she was working, I saw her singing as well. And over the sickle bending. So here the poet draws a picture of the girl who was working in the field. So she was working as well as singing, and she was bending over the sickle. That is, she was cutting, she was reaping the crop with the sickle, bending herself forward. I listened and motionless and still. So he is so much overpowered by the melody and the music of the girl's song that it appears to him that the girl will go on singing forever. So I listened motionless and still. The poet says, I listened her song completely. I did not disturb her. I did not leave in the middle, but I heard, listened her song completely, motionless, without moving, and still, peacefully. Still means here peacefully. And as I mounted up the hill, then the poet says, when the song finished, he went up the hill, he mounted up the hill. But the effect of the song is there in my heart. The music in my heart I bore, that is the music, that song, the melody in my heart that I have. The poet means to say that he has that melody, that song in his heart even today, even after a long time when there was no voice of the girl. Even then, the voice of the girl, the song of the girl is echoing in the heart and mind of the poet. That is, the poet is getting himself relax and treatment, we can say, in the weird in the weird hours. जो कठिन समय जब वो when he is in the cities, when he is living in the metropolitan cities with the hustling and bustling of the noise, the poet feels relaxed when he recollects the song or the picture of the girl singing alone in the field. So, this melody song is continued to resound his heart long after the girl stopped singing. So, the song was a memory, was a memorial thing, and it was keeping a place in the mind and heart of the poet. The sweet sounds and the lonely sights are the part of the poet, are the part of William Wordsworth that he enjoyed. So far the comment of this poem, The Solitary Reaper, we have that such an experience is common with Wordsworth. He tells us same thing in Daffodils. So these experiences are common for Wordsworth. When you study Wordsworth's literature, you will find so many descriptions of nature in his poetry, and such events are here and there available in his poetry. Same thing he speaks in Daffodils. Daffodils is also a beautiful poem, but that is not in your syllabus. The poet seeks the imaginative delight in recollecting the music of the girl in the moments of silence at home. That is, he, as I told you, he gets pleasure, imaginative pleasure, when he recollects the music, when he was at his home in the moments of silence. So the melody of the Solitary Reaper song remained enshrined in the heart of the poet and gave him delight in his lonely and wearied hours. Wearied means when you feel fatigue, tiredness, boring, when you get bored, when you get disappointed. In that moment, such kind of song and the music is a healing thing. So this is the poem, dear students, for you, and we have finished this poem. Next time, in the next week, we will meet with the new poem. Thank you very much.